So, welcome. I'm so excited to be here tonight because I get the opportunity to talk to you. And so, I want to talk with you because I think it's important that I do so because we're just we're not just talking about dreams and all that kind of stuff. I want to talk to people who are about building a legacy, you know. And those are the people who building dreams to so that they can impact their generations, not just for today, but for the future, building a legacy. And that's what I am about. So that's why I wanted to talk with you tonight. Many of you know me as the woman who teaches Caribbean winemaking. So many people know me as that. Um, the woman who empowers traditional winemakers to refine their craft, to stand out, to sell with confidence. But I wanted to talk with you because I wasn't always like this. And tonight I want to share the real beginning, the real beginning with you. Because there was a time, and I will never forget it, when I was scared, really scared, to even show my wine to anybody. I had boxes of wine at home for months. I would make the wines and put them in bottles and put them in boxes and have them packed up in my house. And I didn't have money. I didn't have a lot of the things that I needed to. I felt like if I needed to have, right? Because those wines were made not necessarily with a whole lot of money. It was really scraps, bits of this and that. And I remember the first time that I attended the Tobago Blue Food Festival, it was in 2012. And I know I wanted to go sell wines because I had wines, right? And I remember not having money, not even for transport, to go up to Bloody Bay because I was living in Palo Tuve. And I got a ride to go to Bloody Bay to the festival. And I remember that I took 12 bottles of wine, a case of wine with 12 bottles, and an extra one. That one I determined that I was going to use it for tasting. And I took that because that is what I could have fit in one case. And I thought that if I took that one case and it didn't sell out, that I didn't sell any, I could always lift the box and carry it back home because I really didn't have any money. Even if one didn't, if one sold, then I had money to go home. If I didn't sell anything, I didn't have money to go back home. And so I remember when I went up there, I was very proud of what I had done because I had made wine bags because I sew and I sewed these wine bags on my sewing machine. I had made labels um, using Microsoft Publisher. I don't know if you remember when Microsoft Publisher was the thing when you're starting, right? So I used Microsoft Publisher and created some labels and printed them with the council printer and stick them onto my bottles. And the wine, the quality of the wine was really good. And I can tell you that because that was when I had started balancing wine. So I knew that it was balanced, astringency, acidity, the sweetness was good, the alcohol was good. I could have told you how much alcohol was in the wine because I had a framework and I have a framework for creating wines, and that framework I developed it since then, back then. So the quality of the wine was very exceptional, if I must say so myself. And going to that festival with that type of quality of wines, knowing that the quality was high, knowing that there was nothing else like that out there, I thought that I should not undersell it. So I decided that I was going to sell it for $60 per bottle. And that was quite an ambitious price because at that time homemade wines or local wines, they were being sold at $30 per bottle. And I remember going to that festival and seeing all these wines there. And yes, they were not of the same quality of mine, but as mine, but the price was $30. And I thought that from the time somebody see $30 and they see $60, it's obvious that they will choose $30 because here's what is cheaper. Because that was my mindset. I actually thought that people always bought based on price. That it, if it was cheaper, then they would gravitate towards it. But even inside of that, there was still something inside of me that said, well, maybe they might pay, even if it's a little bit more, they might pay, you know. So I did price my wines at $60. And I remember when I set up and people started coming around and asking about the price, and they tasted, they had the opportunity to taste, and when they tasted, people started to ask the price. I remember the first person who asked the price, I said, I hesitated a moment and then I said $60. And I said it quietly because I was scared. Even as I selling this thing, I was scared to hear to both for them to both me to say, well, listen, $60, $60 for homemade wine. And so I said it quietly, but the person actually just said, okay, no problem. Could I have one, please? And they paid the $60. I'm telling you, they paid the $60. And then within less than an hour, all the wines were sold. All 12 bottles were sold. So I was at Blue Food at 11 o'clock in the morning with nothing else to sell. And I felt so grateful and amazed and excited by the fact that, listen, I actually sold 12 bottles of wine for $60, $720. $720. That changed my mind. That shifted my mindset, made me start to look at Caribbean winemaking and what I was doing as maybe there is a possibility. Maybe I actually can make a living from this. And so I remember going home after that. I remember I had more wines at home, but I didn't bring them to the festival, and I didn't go home to bring back any more because just in case it was a fluke, And then I felt it would have been a lot too harassing to go down to Paltavia and come back up, that kind of stuff. But after the festival, 1 week after, one day I wasn't at home, and my neighbor called me, and she said, "There's somebody here, and they're looking for you. They're looking for the wine lady." That was the first time somebody called me the wine lady. Now everybody calls me the wine lady. And they were looking for the wine lady. So I'm like, "Me? You sure it's me?" She said, "Yes." They said the lady who had the wines in the wine bags. So I said, "Okay." So they wanted wines. So I sent her into my house because I never used to lock my doors. And she was able to get wines to sell to that person. And within that month, I sold out all those wines that I had at home in those boxes. Yeah. So I wanted to talk with you about that because a lot of the times we we don't do things because sometimes of our belief, and sometimes because we're scared. We don't have the courage to show up. And what I want to tell you today is that you should show up even when you're scared. That you should be bold enough to value your work, and you must be willing to try even when everything inside of you want to say, "Nah, they will kill me, they gonna laugh me," you know. They wouldn't buy. They gonna say, "Was she playing? She could make wine." Because all of those things are thoughts that went through my head at that time. And then there was when I had to make wines, when I wanted to create stuff, and I didn't have money, and I had to choose between sometimes paying the rent and buying stuff to make wines, buying wine yeast, or all the different things that I would need, buying equipment, right? Those are real decisions that have real impact on your life. So I understand when somebody say that's a lot of money, when they hear the investment involved in doing a course with me. I get it when they say that, because I walked that path before, knowing that you have to choose between, sometimes you had to squeeze a little bit, in order to be able to afford to purchase or to do anything at all where it comes to moving forward. But the thing is, you have to decide what you want to do. You have to decide. And because we're very aware, and I'm very aware that there are so many places that the money needs to go, which is why I go the extra mile to try to help my students, people who interested in doing a workshop with me, because I know how difficult it is. I know how challenging it is. Yeah, and that is why how I've framed this workshop. This is why I've framed it this way, and this is why, in fact, this particular workshop exists. Yeah. So because I know what it's like to be sitting in your house with stuff, with wines that nobody ever tasted, and I know the feeling of that your product is good, or even if you don't have a product, you have an idea, and having that feeling that I wonder if they would laugh at me, or I would be ignored, or I would be rejected, or I don't have the money to do this thing the right way, the way how it should be. Because now, when you look out there, you see some people have wines that are nice and clear and all of that. And I thank God for every time I see that, because I know it's because I've been working on that for quite a number of years, right? I have taught so many people winemaking, and I feel so proud. I feel especially proud when I see so many of them out there and doing their thing. Shout out to Marlene, to Chateau de Chelles, and Joe Field Wines, and all the rest that out there that I can't bring to mind at the moment. Karen Boatswain, all those people out there who flying the flag, who doing stuff and have nice quality wines out there. Shout out to them, because I remember when I started, and I'm so especially proud of them to see that I've had an influence in their life. That I've done something that we in Tobago here can be proud of, and our Caribbean can be proud of. Yeah. So I want to empower a whole lot more winemakers in the Tobago space, and also the Trinidad space, and also the Caribbean, because what I am dreaming about, what I am seeing is a whole Caribbean, a whole region, a new region where it comes to winemaking. I see the Caribbean as a non-grape wine region, and for me, it's important that the quality of our wines get up to that place in order to be recognized as a region that has something of high quality. So this is what I am about, and this is why, even though I also sell wines, I also make um, a living, or I'm creating a legacy from wines, and providing income for myself through wines. I'm selling wines and winemaking. I am teaching others because I know it is not possible for me to do it alone. It is definitely not possible for this vision that I have in my mind to come to life unless um, I have more people. There are more people on board. So I see we have some viewers inside, but for some reason I'm not seeing the comments. Feel free to comment, say hi, um, inside of there so that I know that I'm not talking to myself out there. So yeah, so this is why I wanted to come live today, to talk about this and to talk about what I'm about and why I'm about what I'm about, and to invite you to join me. I know that, as I said, I know that we think about the financial part of it, the investment part of it, but let me tell you something. It's not. It's an actual investment. An investment. Let me explain to you why I tell you it's an investment. Now, when you hi Stacy, nice to see you in here. Hi, my good friend Stacy Lizama. When you invest in this in a workshop from me, right? You get the opportunity to have someone alongside you who has walked the road. I started when I was 16 years old. Yeah. And I've been experimenting and looking at what works in the context of Caribbean wines and Caribbean fruits and the ingredients that we have. Because when I learned, how I learned it was through a book called Winemaking in 21 Days. I got that as a gift from my grandmother, and I used that book. It taught wines, country wines, because that's how they refer to non-grape wines, as country wines, and it taught how to do country wines, but the ingredients that they had, the fruits and the flowers and those kinds of things, it's not stuff that is indigenous to the Caribbean. It was written from an English perspective. So there were lots of things that I didn't understand. And because my learning style, I learn by logic. I have to know the framework, the whys and the whens and hows, and for what reason you have to do it this way. Why do you need to add this? You know, so I need to understand the logic. And the book didn't give me the logic, but it gave me the idea of how to put things together. And so I started exploring our Caribbean fruits and roots and the issues that we would have if we're making wine with them, if we want to get our wines to look clear, to have that clarity and balance and standard and all that. I needed to know what the components were in order to be able to do that. So I started pursuing it from that perspective, the framework for it. And because I have done this and have learned it over the years, anyone who takes a course with me, who does a winemaking course, has the opportunity to learn from me, to have a jump start. So you don't have to go to look from scratch, right? And that's another thing in our culture. There's a culture of secrecy in how our foreparents would have done things. So they didn't necessarily document. So you don't know what they used to do and why they used to do it, right? So even now you're trying to do something and you always have to try to figure it out and tweak it, and I wonder what she used to put. She never used to tell you what she put here and why she used to that. She would never tell you. Sometimes your grandparents or your great grandparents, they never told you. So you now had to come back now and start from scratch because you don't know, right? And all of this you have the opportunity to not have to do when you're in a class with me, in a workshop with me. In addition to that, beyond the framework of how to structure your wine so that it's balanced and can stand alongside international wines. In addition to that, you get the opportunity to learn how to sell your wines, because inside of this, when we have a whole lot of people creating wines, manufacturing, then you have to figure out how to market it and how to get it to your markets, right? I can tell you, for the people who considering, I can tell you, in all the years that I've been doing winemaking, when I started my brand, I officially branded my business in 2019. From since then to now, I am telling you, there is no shortage of customers. None. No shortage at all, at all, at all, at all. What ends up happening is that you have a shortage of wine or a shortage of product, but you never experience a shortage of customers because there are so many people out there who drink wines and drink international wines, but are interested in exploring what we have here. And not only local people, I'm talking about foreigners, people outside of Trinidad and Tobago who come to Tobago, and they actually come looking for stuff that we create here. And I'm not talking about Trinidad stuff or Tobago stuff. I'm talking about Trinidad and Tobago stuff, and especially Tobago stuff. And I'm talking to Tobagonians, but I'm also talking to Trinidadians too, and anybody else wherever you are at. Your your wines are part of your country's cuisine. People travel for cuisine, right? When they come, they look for things that are indigenous to the place that they are at. So, besides local customers, you have all the foreigners that come in here that you have an opportunity to sell to. I am at this stage where I will share with you. I ferment in 55-gallon drums, and in order to make sure that I don't run out of product, I have to set a barrel of wine every week. I'm telling you, you do not have a shortage of customers, and that is why I tell you this is an investment. You have the opportunity to have me walk alongside you, not just for the days that we learning to set wine, where we dealing with the basics and how to do this and that kind of stuff. You have the opportunity to have me even after that initial 5 days, right? 5 days, 5 weeks, I should say, one day per week, right? For 5 weeks. After that, you have an additional 3 days, an additional 3 sessions, I should say, 3 1 hour sessions that you can actually do it as 1 hour sessions, or you could actually split it and do it as 6 half an hour sessions according to what you need, right? And these are not those additional sessions are not necessarily group sessions. These are sessions that you and I communicate, we talk, and I help you to get to where you are at, because everybody is not in the same place where it comes to developing their wine product. Yeah. So, so those are some of the things that you get when you are in a class with me, when you are in a session with me, when you do a workshop with me, right? It's not just for the in class sessions, you have mentorship built into it. So the investment for this is 2,500 TT dollars, and of course we have a payment plan inside of that, right? So don't say, "Oh gosh, so much money." No, this is an opportunity for you to get deliberate and to decide what you want to do. And when you decide what you want to do, I am here to walk through with you so that by the end of by the time you complete your first bucket of wine, right? Or your first 2 buckets, or how much ever you do, right? That gives you the first 25 bottles of wine, in fact, will give you back the money that you spent. Yeah, the first 25 bottles of wine that you made. And to break it down even more, 1 gallon of wine gives you 5 bottles, right? So all you need to do is make 5 gallons of wine, and you paid for the course. Yeah, you pay for the course already. 5 gallons of wine, and you pay for the course. And quite certain I can help you to sell 25 bottles of wine when I'm finished with positioning you and positioning your product for you to get sales on a consistent basis. Yeah. So I invite you now to um this is the time where you get to talk with me. You get to ask me any questions that you like, um, and we get a follow up. You don't have to decide tonight. You don't have to decide if you want to do the course now, because this course that I'm talking about, this group session that I'm having, it's actually at the end of June, right? The last Wednesday in June. That's where when I'm starting, and I am limiting the number of students in the workshop, because I want to be able to 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 focus on each person. I don't want it to be too large so that you get left out. I really need you to have your individual attention, because the workshop is going to be virtual. It's very, very important that you don't get left behind. Yeah. So anybody in here, you want to talk, you want to say hi, you want to ask a question? Thank you for coming in. I want to say thank you because you could have done something else within this time. I do appreciate time. I really do appreciate when people give me time, because time is one of those things that you don't get back. Oh, hi Stacy. Yes. Oh yes, you've tasted my wines many times. Thank you very much, Stacy, for your endorsement. Thank you so much. Hi, Dawn. Oh, it's nice to see you, Dawn. I messaged you last night. We didn't get to catch up back during the day today, but it's good to see you on the live. Yes. So Dawn is Dawn is one of those persons that we're working together to create something amazing for her also. So I'm looking forward to us doing something amazing. I'm looking forward to seeing what Dawn comes up with when it comes to we come up with, I should say, together, um, when it comes to her wine and the marketing of it. So yes. Yes, so I want you to. We're going to be talking about wine as we go along for the rest of the period of time. So you have until the end of. I'm going to be doing regular updates as regards where we are at. Talking with you if you want to talk one on one as to um, where you are at, what assistance you need, feel free. Contact me. You can contact me via direct message on Facebook. You can contact my business page, Mainridge Wines. You can go on there and contact on Facebook and also Instagram. You can WhatsApp me. When you go in, if you direct message from the WhatsApp page, you normally will get a link with my number. A message comes up with the number 7732764. Yes, Junior, you can get that. I'll arrange that for you. Yeah. That cockfight. Everybody loves cockfight. Yes. So yes, it's just so you just go in and message me. Let's talk. Let's talk. Um as I said, this is an investment, and it's about setting yourself up so that you don't have to always be hustling, setting yourself up so that you can afford to pay for the things that you need to pay for. um, I remember one last thing. This lady, her name is Michelle Antoine. She has a business called Chateau des Shell. She's on Instagram, and she does wines. She learned winemaking with me. Well, she was doing winemaking, traditional winemaking before, and she wanted to put some structure to it, right? Because it was just things that were passed down. What she would have heard, you put some sugar, you put yeast, and but she didn't have the structure in place. So what we did is that we didn't throw away the tradition, because I don't encourage people to throw away the traditional methods, because traditional methods actually um, add interest and value, layers in your wine, right? In your wine. The addition of raisins and all those things. They add dimension in your flavors. So what we did is looked at what she learned and refined the process so that at the end of the day she had a wine that was clear to look at. You had the influence of color in it. Influence of color being color from the fruit, right? Because wine is a sensory, drinking wine is a sensory experience. So when you appreciating wine, you look at the color, right? You look at the taste, you look at the bouquet, which is the smell of it, you look at the body of it. So you engage all your senses. And so what Michelle and I did is basically looked around and saw what she had available and what she had in her yard. She had some five finger trees that used to just drop off the five finger in the yard. Plenty five finger. And she took that and refined it and blended it, created one homogeneous flavor with the different taste because different five finger tree, the taste was different. So we had to blend everything together. And those are things that we're going to be looking at also where it comes to your winemaking. Um, put it together. And now she has her stuff in different places in Trinidad. She has a quick shop. She supplies a quick shop in Trinidad and another place, a number of places. Chateau de Shell. Yeah, she's on Instagram. Yeah. So this is something, as I said, it can make you money. And if you get an opportunity to talk with Misha, she would tell you how it has changed her life, learning how to make wines and learning how to put standard around what she does, how it has impacted her life. So, yes, thank you everyone for coming in on the live tonight. I really appreciate you. And as I said, just go in, message me directly if you want to continue the conversation. The workshop starts at the end of the month, the last Wednesday in June. And we're going to talk as we go along. We're going to talk a little bit more. I want to do another session, another live, and where I go into a little bit of the framework that I teach, so that you can have an idea of what you're going to learn and how it's going to benefit you. Yeah. So look out for that. Good night, everyone. Thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate you. And good night. Junior, we will link up. I will talk with you about the wine cockfight.